Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Spirit of the Soul Show. It's Power Coach Alicia here. We're continuing on in our 90-day journal of finding your inner calm and embracing your truth. Today we are talking all about emotional intelligence and like connecting to and feeling into everything. All right, let me just pull this up on Facebook so I can see any comments on my personal profile. Listen. This is such a powerful session, and I cannot wait to dive in because it is going to blow your mind. So, I want to let you know what we're going to be talking about today and the description of today's live. So, emotional intelligence is considered an essential trait for everything from being a desirable romantic partner to having a successful career. But what do you really mean when we say emotional intelligence, and how can you become more emotionally intelligent over time? So, in this session today, I'm going to explore emotional intelligence, including what's in it, balancing emotional closeness and distance, plus how we can become more self aware, self regulated, and empathetic. So this is going to be a really powerful session. Now, like I said, we are in your 90-day journal. We're on day 62. We're talking about blazing your purpose and feeling into everything with this emotional intelligence and balancing this emotional closeness and this distance and how to become more self-aware and self-regulated while being empathetic. And again, building that emotional intelligence. Every single day is broken down into 4 parts. We have your quote, your lesson, your journal prompt, and your affirmation for what we are talking about today. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Power Coach Alicia, soul healer, author, and speaker. I specialize in helping you go from burnout to recharged in 30 days or less. So our quote for the day is the feeling into everything is the thread that weaves emotions into the fabric of our lives, a testament to the beauty of emotional intelligence and empathetic living. So emotional intelligence is the thread that weaves emotions into the fabric of your lives. Like it's there, right? Your emotions are there. They're going to show up and they are going to be there. The question is, how do you process those in an instant? When they're coming through, when things are coming up for you, how do you process what's yours to own and what you need to work through and release and focus on, and that you need to detach from you, right? Or that you need to process through, or that you need to supercharge? And what emotions are other people's that you are holding on to? And then what are triggers that other people are doing inadvertently that are triggering things emotionally for you that are your past trauma, demons, and burdens that you need to work through? You see, all 3 of these areas are emotional intelligence. And the more work that you do in these areas, the bigger that you are going to build your emotional intelligence, which gives you so much soul alignment, so much soul power, so much soul fire, that when you show up in the world, when you show up in life, you are literally blazing a powerful fucking trail because you've become so emotionally intelligent and done and cleaned up so much of the shit in your life. So our lesson for today is feeling into everything is your lesson in emotional intelligence, empathy, and embracing the full spectrum of your human experience. Is the understanding that your emotions are your compass in life, guiding you towards growth, healing, and deeper connections if you allow them to be. If you remember yesterday's session, we talked about there's that bridge, right? In the session we were talking about the I could have swore it was yesterday patience. Oh my God. That bridge between the list that you're building of your life, of your traumas, your demons, and your burdens, and then the bridge to the lessons, the transformation, the growth that's propelling you forward. You know, people live in these are the things that have happened to me that define who I am, the core of my being, and how far that I've come. And these are the traumas, the demons, the burdens, the shit shows, the cycles, the destruction in life, holding on to that as a badge of honor, like this is the woman I am because everything I've been through. No, that's not how this works. When you hold on to the stories and everything that you've been through, and you believe that that's the reason why you are who you are, you have to hold these things tightly, because if you let them go, now you're going to lose your identity. But when you make that bridge to the other side of those lessons, the growth, the transformation of the things that you went through over here, that is the bridge to emotional intelligence. That is the bridge to stepping into your power and really breaking free from the burnout that plagues us day in and day out, that takes us to the antidepressants and the anti-anxiety meds and these diagnoses and this perpetual therapy world that we live in. So what I'm saying to you is, every single thing you do is either about building up your emotional intelligence, building up your personal power, building up the person who is you so that you can recharge your mind, body, and soul all of the time, or it's breaking you down, right? So when you're not self-aware, when you're not emotionally intelligent, when you're not empathetic with yourself, right? When you're not balancing your emotional closeness with other people and yourself, what ends up happening is all of that just takes off full steam ahead, and it like is a fucking train wreck, right? And then now you've got to go back and pick up the pieces and pull them back together because you didn't create those bridges that we talked about yesterday to that transformation, those lessons, the growth. And instead you sat in the shit and you took all of your shit and you plopped it in someone else's lap. And you said, oh my God, you showed me love and you're here for me and you're my friend or you're my lover. And I love the way that I feel with you. And so now it is your burden. It is your everything to heal me. And so that person becomes your source. Oh, I forgot to shake my shake. That person becomes your source of healing. So when they fuck it up, when they have a bad day, when they don't do it right, when they're not right, when they're operating at 10%, guess what you are? Not feeling right, not doing well. You're operating at less than 10% because they're not showing up for you in the ways that you should be showing up for your fucking self. So when you're feeling into everything, it's your feelings. It's what do you need to do? How do you need to view this? Where do you need to process through this? What's the healing for you? What's the transformation for you? What's the growth for you? So how you become emotionally intelligent over time in my world is the work that we do day in and day out. You know, as I'm teaching you how to go from burnout to recharge to 30 days or less, every single thing I do is about self-awareness and emotional intelligence and that empathy for yourself instead of showing up and everything is outward. In my world, we start in and then we can give out. Because if you start out, then you have nothing left to give to yourself, which in turn, you give shit to everyone else. Now, if you're live with me, shout out hashtag live party in the comments. If you are on the replay, just shout out hashtag after party. Either way, it's great for you to be here. I love to see your comments. So please comment when you're live with me. I want to know what's on your mind. I want to know what you're thinking. I want to know how things landed with you. Definitely. I love that so much. Oh, hi, Julie. Oh my gosh. I've been sick for about a week too. It's been a pretty big shit show. But we're here and we're grooving today. So today's lesson empowers you to cultivate self-awareness, embrace your vulnerability, and honor your emotions without judgment. So then there's that flip side of that, right? You're either plopping all this shit into everybody else's lap, and then it's like their job, those people who are closest to you, to manage all of these things that you are going through, which are really yours, right? To manage and to do the work on. Or you go inward and now you're beating yourself up and you're frustrated with yourself. Listen, the power of emotional, excuse me, the power of emotional intelligence is being able to be vulnerable and proud of yourself for that vulnerability, loving yourself through that vulnerability, embracing that vulnerability because it's part of this journey. It's part of the healing. It's part of emotional intelligence and self-awareness and that personal empathy. Remember, I didn't say sympathy. That takes you to victimhood, right? It's that personal empathy, like recognizing that shit sucks and the way you're going through is horrible and that this feels like shit and that this isn't how you want it to be. All of those things are beautiful. See, sympathy for yourself is a pity party. Empathy for yourself allows you to recognize that shit sucks and it isn't right, and then to get fucking moving. And that's why I can take you from burnout to recharged in 30 days or less, because I'm all about getting you moving. You don't get to sit in your shit. You don't get to feel sorry for yourself. And there is no room for you to live in victimhood in my world, right? So you're automatically learning that empathy for yourself. You're automatically building that emotional intelligence, right? Because emotional intelligence also comes with telling yourself the truth. Learning what your good action cycle is, learning what triggers you that causes you to sabotage, learning how to get back into good action when shit around you derails or disrupts or erupts this progress that you've been on. Right? So by feeling into everything, you unlock the transformative power of your feelings, fostering emotional strength and a profound connection with yourself and others. So this building of emotional intelligence, this building of self-awareness, this work that you are doing will promote such beautiful, harmonious, and powerful relationships with those around you, including with yourself, right? It starts with yourself, but it will go out and build these beautiful relationships with everyone else. So everyone reaps the benefit of it. So when we say emotional intelligence, it's learning how to process your own emotions and get clear on what they mean, and then knowing what your next steps are to take for yourself. It literally has nothing to do with what anybody else is going to do for you, how they're going to show up for you, or anything like that. It has everything to do with you and how you show up for yourself. And then when you're balancing that emotional closeness, it's what am I giving to other people to be a part of and go along on this journey with me? And what am I holding on to myself? Because this is part of my journey, my soul alignment, my soul connection, my soul healing that I need to do for me, by me, with me, that doesn't have to do with anybody else. It doesn't mean that you don't share that with them and that they don't know, right? And they don't hear about it. It just means that you go through your process with and for and by yourself to get through that first, and then you can share that later. And that distance that is needed at times for that healing of your soul, for that emotional intelligence to build that self-awareness, so you have space to give yourself the empathy. That's another thing. With empathy and sympathy, if other people are giving it to you, it will literally take over the space for you to give it to yourself. And so therefore, when they're not, you can feel empty. There is so fucking much more where this comes from and the work that we do to break through this, right? When we talk about going from burnout to recharge in 30 days or less, what we're talking about is self-awareness and emotional intelligence and emotional closeness, and balancing this emotional closeness and the vulnerabilities and how you operate with yourself and how you talk to yourself and what you do for yourself, but also how you operate with other people, how you talk to other people and what you do for other people. And we're teaching you how to harmonize this, where these skills are not so fucking tipped at a 95.5 or a 99.1, where it's 99% is outward and 1% inward. That life is a life to death, whether that's living a life surviving or that's living a life living dead. You absolutely cannot be a 99.1, and most people operate in a 99.1 energy, 99% to everyone else, 1% to myself. I don't really need much. I don't really require much. But the truth is, we all need that harmony between giving ourselves everything that we need while giving other people what they need and want from us, right? So we'll talk more about this as we continue through the Spirit of the Soul show. I love this topic of emotional intelligence and vulnerability and balancing emotional closeness and the distance that's needed and the empathy that you give to yourself. I fucking love it so much that we are going to be diving so much deeper into this in my Refresh Your Life virtual retreat that's coming up in just a week and a half ish at the end of December, just in time to shift things for you as you step into 2024. This refresh retreat is all about breaking free from the burnout and recharging your mind, body, and soul. We're going to get into these things that we're talking about here from a different perspective, so we can set up your quarter one for 2024 to be powerful, to be soul fire, to be supercharging on your soul healing journey. In this retreat, the way that I have it structured is it's very much so, here is our theme for first quarter of 2024, which is all about refreshing your life, recharging your mind, body, and soul. And here are the areas that we're going to look at over the next 90 days in your life. We're going to look at where you are, and we're going to look at where you're going, and we're going to look at where that gap is. And in that 90 days, you're plugging that gap, and you're really charging each area of your life that is the most important right now, that needs the most attention, so that you can bring back that harmony. Instead of going and being at that 99.1, we're bringing that harmony around to where it could be 60-40 or 70-30, depending on what it is. We're not looking for a balance, which would be 50-50, That isn't the intention. It is extremely hard to have balance anywhere in life. So we're just looking for a harmony, which brings in that ebb and flow. And we are doing that in this last free retreat. All my retreats in the future will be paid retreats, but this one is the last free retreat that I'm doing. So you better get registered for it so you can see what it is we do in these retreats to set up each of your quarters. Along with setting up the quarter, I always have a 90-day journal that goes along with it that you can buy. And that is in the process of being completed as well. Like currently, we are in Q4's 90-day journal right now that's all about embracing your truth and finding your inner calm. So with that being said, if you're on YouTube, you could just click the link in the description of this video and get signed up for this refresh retreat. If you're watching this anywhere else, like on Facebook, just shout out refresh in the comments. I'll get you that link, but you definitely want to get signed up. There will be a limited time access to the replay. It is absolutely worth it. It is such a powerful thing that I do every quarter to set your life up in advance for the next quarter, because I am all about intentional action. All right. All about intentional action. This is not about going through life and being reactive to everything that is coming up. It's about taking action right now to set your life up in advance the way that you want it to be. And this is the perfect time to start this habit, this process, and this spiritual practice is setting up your quarter in advance for your soul and what you want, how you want to feel, how you want to show up, and harmonizing the areas in your life and in your soul that have been neglected. So again, if you want that link, shout out refresh in the comments. If you're on YouTube, click the link in the comments. Woo! Julie's already registered. Like, you probably see this everywhere. I'm screaming this retreat from the rooftops because it's so fucking powerful. I love my retreats, and I know the way I feel in my soul right now, this will be the best one I've ever done. My last soul camp that I just did, that was the Soul's Prescription, all about breaking free from anxiety and depression and achieving unstoppable confidence, was the best soul camp that I've ever done. So I know that I'm in this topping energy, and I just cannot wait for this retreat. All right, so your journal prompt for today is reflect on a recent emotional experience where it was a joy, whether it was joy, sadness, anger, or fear. How did you process and express this emotion? What did you learn from it? Consider any past moments when you suppressed or ignored your feelings. How can you cultivate a practice of feeling into everything, embracing your emotions as valuable messengers in your life? Write about your experience and your intention for fostering emotional intelligence. We are on day 62 in your 90-day journal. When you do introspection, that's why these journals are created. When you do introspection on emotional intelligence, on balancing your emotional closeness and your distance and your self-awareness, when you do this so that you can self-regulate and become more empathetic, and it's inward, when you do this work, what you will find is the way you operate with other people will instantly shift. They will say something or they will do something that will trigger you. Remember, it's generally inadvertent coming from the other people, right? Thanks, Julie. She says, you were on fire with the RX. I mean, I was like fucking A. I loved it. Like, they will say or do something to trigger you. And usually it's inadvertent, right? It's not a direct thing. And usually you react to that, right? It's an automatic response. But now, being in my world and starting this process and being on this journey of building and doing the soul healing and building the emotional intelligence and the things that we've been talking about today, you will operate differently when someone says or does something that triggers you. That's why you've got to do this journaling work and answer these questions for yourself, right? So they come in, they do this, and in the transformed you, as you start to move forward, you'll look at that and you'll say, is this them or is this me? Is this a them problem, or is this something that I've been carrying from past relationships? Doesn't matter if it was your mom, your dad, your friend, your brother, your sister, uncle, cousin, or lover. Am I carrying this from a past relationship? And their actions are bringing that up because I didn't do the work to clear it from me. You see, therapy teaches you how to operate forward. This happened in your life. I'm going to teach you how to deal with that and move forward. Soul healing and what I do. I don't know about everybody else. I made up the title soul healer. So what I do as a soul healer is I teach you how to clear it from you because it gave you what you need. You got the power that you needed from it. You learned the lessons, you had the growth. So it gives you the characteristics and how you show up and how you operate and how you transform. Well, it might not have yet, but in my world, I'll teach you how to make it do that. And then we clear it from you, right? It leaves. And then when someone says or does something that would have triggered that in the past and emotions in the past, it won't come up for you anymore. And if it does, you'll be like, oh my gosh, that doesn't bother me now. In therapy, you learn how to move through. And then when something happens, it triggers again. And now you got to go to therapy and talk about it again. Although you guys have talked about it before, now you're at a different stage and life is at a different place. So it looks like you're peeling back the layers and transforming, but you're not. What you're doing is as you go back or things trigger you and they take you back, this therapist is teaching you how to continue operating forward and not get stuck. That's a good thing. We don't want you stuck. The problem is you end up in perpetual therapy, clearing, not really clearing, but moving through, right? Moving through the same issues over and over and over again that different people are doing because there is not that power in yourself, in that choice in yourself, and you clearing it and doing the work with yourself so that we don't have to revisit that again. Right? Yeah, I'm going to teach you how to go from burnout to recharge in 30 days or less. And then we're going to move through that to teach you how to energize and vitalize and take you through the other steps that create that aligned soul, right? So, with all of this being said, do the deeper dive work here in this journal work. Don't skip this because this is where you learn to connect with yourself so that when someone else does something that triggers you and causes issues within you, you can look at it and say, whew, that's something I didn't clear. I shoved it in a box. I ignored it. I turned my back on it. And now it's back again. I'm going to do the work to clear this with Power Coach Alicia because I don't want this here anymore. It served the purpose that it was meant to serve, and I'm damn sure not going to keep in this cyclic destruction for this thing coming up. But first, it starts with your introspection. So you've got to do that work for it to clear that out. And you'll learn a lot of this being in my world, showing up for my soul camps, showing up for my retreats, and investing in yourself and your mind and your body and your soul for that transformation. So like I said, if you're watching this on Facebook, even if it's on replay, shout out retreat in the comments or refresh in the comments, and I'll get you the link. If you're on YouTube, click below, sign up for the refresh retreat. Come to one thing of mine. And then if you think this was shit and I just wasted like an hour of my time, and I don't have to stay for the whole thing, then never come back and leave my world. Here's one thing I can promise you. You never feel like you wasted your time in my world, ever. I don't just sit around fucking talking about random shit. I do add random shit because I am a random, spontaneous person and I get very excited easily about things, right? But there is always the core, the heart, the soul, the message, the transformation, and exactly what you needed to change your fucking life in everything that I do. Everything that I do. Like Julie, you guys hear me shouting her out in the comments because she's responding, right? She has a life that is so full that I fucking promise you that if I wasn't bringing value and the time wasn't worth it, she damn sure wouldn't show up each day for this Spirit of the Soul session. And my soul camp that she attended went longer. It was 5 hours. I'm editing my soul camps a little bit, but my retreats are always 5 hours. My soul camps will be more like 2, retreats will be 5 hours. She was there for the whole fucking thing, someone who doesn't have any time. Why? Because of the value that I give and the way that I teach it and what she can take from it and the actionable steps. It is never a waste of time. It's not hyperbole. It's not like ways to like get you in to make you think you're learning something, but you're not. It's literally brass tacks. All right. I can promise you that. I don't even need anybody to tell me that. I know. But if you come into my world and you attend something and you decide it wasn't worth your time, I'm giving you permission to walk away because it was just complete and utter bullshit and I wasted your time on that. Okay. Because there are plenty of people out here that do that. All right. Your affirmation for today is I honor and I embrace the full spectrum of my emotions. Each feeling is a valuable messenger guiding me toward growth, healing, and deeper connections. In the tapestry of my existence, I am the thread that weaves emotional intelligence and empathetic living, fostering strength and profound self-awareness. You can either pull a piece of that affirmation out and just say that piece of affirmation, or you could say the whole thing. But no matter what you do, say it with conviction, power, energy, fire, and passion in your voice while getting your body involved. Slap your legs, clap your hands, like pound your fists, right? Get your body involved so you can start incanting it into you and repeat whatever portion of this affirmation or all of it that connects with you 10 times, because it's the fire, it's the power, it's what embeds it into your subconscious and makes it you. All right. So we will be back here tomorrow for day 63, where it's continuing right on in this 90-day journal on finding your inner calm and embracing your truth. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about stepping into the light, going from the darkness of your life into the light. And even if you're not in the darkness, show up for this session, because you're going to see how the different things that happen day in and day out paint a darkness, and how it is your choice and your power and your opportunity to shift into that light outside of that darkness and releasing the darkness from you. It doesn't matter what you have been through. That shit does not have to stay there and be a darkness for the rest of your life. It is a fucking choice, and we're covering that tomorrow. Remember to say yes to yourself more than you say yes to other people. It's always about progress, not perfection. And you must give yourself way more grace than you give everyone else, because the world needs who you were made to be. So show up every single fucking day as the badass you are and slay. I'm Power Coach Alicia, and we'll see you tomorrow.